Hey guys, it's time coming at you with another game of hardcore Diablo 2 Resurrected. We're here with our ladder Necromancer, solo self-found. I think we're about 415 in the world right now. In the world, no, on the server for Necromancers. Getting too lofty. I think we're at like 30,000 of the world. People made a lot of warlocks, but not me. Corrupted Trimmer's Endurance. That actually feels worth going to, right? You know, Mephie's got good drops anyway. I mean, Nightmare Mephie is absolutely worth running, you know, just to hope to get something decent. Good morning, Kiara. Yes, a coincidence. Not that I am consumed by my desire to play this character. You know, when I lose them, it's gonna be fine. I'm gonna be totally fine about it. But we are gonna play a different game. I'm not gonna immediately start another Necro. Oh, you don't need to apologize for that, you know. Life is always happening. But it was a good time. You know, I recited a Robert Frost poem and then started talking again like a third of a second after I finished relating it, which sort of ruins the effect. You know, you're supposed to stop once you finish the end of the poem. You know, and you know, ultimately brought the good old dog home. And I had some ideas for what we need to do next in hardcore. Like, man, I gotta get some stairs that lead from the ocean front, like, up, right? And there should be stairs that go to the house. And we gotta clean up some of those railway lines. Like, why did I do all those little switchbacks? They don't add anything. And I gotta figure out if you can do, like, jumps in a minecart. Because if you can, that'll be sick. And then I want to build a boat. Obviously not a boat that can sail. I don't know how to do that. But, you know, like, I want to, like, build a little harbor and a pier, and then I want to build a little boat. Or a big boat. Do, like, a trireme. No, that's too ambitious. Gotta stay with smaller boats first. Anyway, we're going to... Forget that I said we were going to Durance. I mean... Oh, it just swapped anyway. It is now plateau and pit, so we'll just do cows. Area plateau with higher level stuff actually sounds terrible, whereas cows sound like this. Moo. Moo. And we get a body. And the glorious chain of exploding cows continues. We'll hold on to that just because we could, like, give it to a different character someday. You don't want to throw away a 4-socket polearm unless you got, like, a whole lot of them. Because we could also, like, just make an insight and turn an iron golem into it in the later game if we think we can keep it alive some. So if you have enough to make a few of them, you know, it's not too much of a sacrifice if one dies, although it's awful. It's the worst. It's really hard to keep them alive. But if you get like a super high level one, then you just gotta keep yourself alive. Moo. Real big corpse explosion level now, and this is of course right when you need it. You don't want to do cows with small radius. Alright. Bunch of junk on the ground. Is there anything we need to actually get? I need to set up the loot filter, but I'm too lazy. Couldn't tell what the clip was. I was like, oh, that's me! I was like, I need to mute it real quick in case it's somebody screaming. No, I don't think you would do that. Is it me making moo sounds? Look, it makes perfect sense. They actually... I've got the animal, creature, monster sounds turned down quite a lot, because in Diablo you hear the same ones a lot. But it's like people doing the moo sounds for the cows in the cow level, which I think is funny now, and I thought was funny then. I think it's an excellent convention. Not least because it would probably be really easy to record cows making sounds, but it's obviously better to use people. In Diablo 3, they have a level that's sort of like this. I forget what it's called. It's not a cow level, though, which disappointed me greatly. It's like a sunshine and rainbows land, you know? Like, there's fluffy clouds and unicorns that exude rainbows whenever they expel gases, and then you fight everything, right, you know? And then there's, like, little pots of gold. So, you know, it's not a cow level, but it's still a little joke level that you get. First time I got to close a chip full dice. At the topic. No, that was once like the premier place for me and my friends to go if we were in Little Rock. We would always stop off there, see if they had a sweet band t-shirt, or especially sampler. They, you know, I confess I haven't been into one in a very long time. So I don't know if they still have these, or indeed if the world still does them, really, you know. Like, they gotta have some kind of mixtape going on, though. But you could get, like, you know, for like $3 or $4, you would get, like, a full-length CD, and it would be, like Drive-Thru Records, or Vagrant Records, or whatever, or, you know, just whoever did an ensemble. And it was, like, a really good way to find new bands. Because, like, in, like, '01 or '02, you know, you couldn't just... It was a lot harder to find stuff. And it was, like, a really good way. Because you'd be like, oh, I like this band. They're on Drive-Thru. They're my pop-punk darlings, you know. So then, you know, you could go on, like, Drive-Thru Records website. But it's still, like, 2002. So websites aren't that useful for getting stuff. And you wouldn't be able to, like, get music on it. Buying stuff on the internet was impossible. So, like, they were, really, really enjoyed going there and picking up new stuff. Or they would do, you know, like, you could get, like, all the cool, like Punk Goes Acoustic, you could buy that there. But no, it was, like, it was what I would call, like, because when you say emo now, people think you mean, like, '05 and later, like, once it became so time. But, like, when I say emo, I mean, like, '02 emo, which is, like, you know, much more obscure. Hey, those are just better than my crappy blue boots, because they have hit recovery, and they have, I think, the same amount of fire resist, so that's good. But no, it was great. Me and... Hey! +1 sorcerer skill levels on an amulet. Let's put that on the box and forget about it forever. Good stuff. 9 attack rating. Garbage. But in that scene, you know, like, there were some bands that I liked that I would consider, like, adjacent to that music that were on the radio. And a lot of them were, like, what got me into, like, stuff deeper in it. But, you know, like, for all that I still to this day love Blink-182, you know, they were quite mainstream by that point, you know. They were on the front of MTV Total Request Live, which thrilled me because I was so happy. I love Blink. They're, you know, product of their time and all, but plenty of great tunes. Early 2010s, you know, yeah, because, like, yeah, but it was a whole different, like, aesthetic and, like, commonality thing, because, like, it was very much, like, pop-punk had been what was happening, and people called us emo kids because we listened to what would later become emo music, you know, but all of the stuff that like my mom would associate with emo, she wouldn't have even thought of me in high school as being one, even though people definitely called me an emo kid. Like that, like I wasn't a punk kid because we didn't listen to hardcore punk that much. We were friends with the punk kids because we were all aligned in our goals, which were basically play Tony Hawk, talk trash about people we didn't like, and watch people braver than us skateboard. Great times, for some. I was watching people skateboard, so it was fine for me. I only tried like once. It hurts so bad when you fall down, forget it, you know? Like, no way. But lots of great shirts. Maybe I don't have any now after all these years. I don't know what happened to my Alkaline Trio shirt. I might have like put it in a bag so it doesn't get hurt anymore. But my favorite band in high school, and one of my favorite bands now, is called Alkaline Trio, and they were on Vagrant. Dark music, right? Lots of really heavy, violent, horror-based themes. You know, lots of murder songs and bodies being thrown in lakes and all of that. Dark stuff. Loved it. But they had the letters of their band, Alkaline Trio, their words, on little tombstones in 2 letters, like a little staggered in the front. And yeah, they actually ended up having like quite, I think, like a great career for what I would have expected for them. And again, they were my favorite band, but when you write the kinds of songs Alkaline Trio writes, it would make sense if you aren't ultimately rewarded for it. Not, again, they're one of my favorite bands, but, you know, it's not, you know, if you're 14 and your mom reads these lyrics, she's probably going to be like, what? That's why you don't let them read it. Do we need a 3-socket polearm? It's possible we might be able to use one. This isn't a super good bass. We'll hold on to it anyway. But yes, I got lots and lots of t-shirts. That was probably, yeah, the store where most of my t-shirts came from whenever I was in high school, unless we like made them ourselves or got them at a band show, which is of course the best form of getting a t-shirt. But the thing about living in Arkansas now and then is that often bands don't choose to come here. You know, there's not a ton of people that live here, and, you know, the scene isn't massive. So, you know, you'd go to a bunch of shows where, you know, there wouldn't be more than a couple handfuls of people. Ooh, Death Mask. 3 sockets as well. Perfection. I will always take more places to put runes till we run out of space, and then I will evaluate what we have. So Taco Choice. That is so cool. I don't know if they've ever been here. It's possible. Sometimes really, really big acts come, but it's not usually. It's not like. It's not when they're at their peak. But, like, sometimes you can get lucky, and I'm really kicking myself for not going to the show, because I've been, like, I really like Chapel Roan, which I've probably related before. Her music, I don't know her personally or anything. And I got into her, right, it would have been, like, February of last year, because she did a Tiny Desk concert with NPR right after the Super Bowl, which I only remember because she mentions it in a very funny way during the performance. But she came in like May or June last year, but I ended up not going. I bought tickets and then I didn't go because like I was like anxious and I didn't want to drive, and I really regret that because I bet it would have been a great show. Well, I actually like a lot of pop music. It's just I don't like all pop music. I tend to be very picky about it. But no, I celebrate her whole album. Yeah, the Rise and Fall of the Midwestern Princess. I think it's good front to back. I mean, the singles are fine, and I mean, Pink Pony Club, total total awesomeness. And I think she made a video to Champagne or Red Wine Supernova and Champagne. That's not her song, but let's make a new world. But yeah, there's a bunch of like other tracks on the album that I really respected. Coffee was super good, and Naked in Manhattan is bonkers. Like, oh man, it's so good. Bunch of good stuff, a lot to like. But no, I like a lot of pop music, and always have. I often hate everything that's going on in pop, and I'll have like one person I like. Like, I super obsessed with Lana Del Rey. Alright, we don't need this field plate. It is underwhelming. Let's make a new world and make some more cows. But no, when I saw Chapel Roan's performance at the Tiny Desk, I immediately became super annoying about her. I talked to every person that I ever talked to about music, and I was like, you gotta listen to this. I think she's gonna win the Grammy for Best New Artist. And then she ultimately did, and I looked real smart. And actually a couple of them believed that I called it. They remembered it too. They're like, okay, yeah, sure. And then when it happened, they're like, didn't you say? I'm like, yes, I did say. It's all me, I believed. Alright, a couple more skellies, and let's go get the leg. But I still go back and listen to her Tiny Desk performance and watch it all the time. I love Tiny Desk shows. Like, they remind me, like I was talking about how like I went to a bunch of smaller concerts on account of where we live, you know. I would go to a show with a band that I really liked, and maybe only like 12 people would be there, you know, and like half of them were my friends. One of my very favorite bands in the whole world is called Murder by Death. They're amazing. They have a cello player. Oh my god, they're so cool. But they filled in for a band, Deep Lord out. So Taking Back Sunday broke up and formed Straylight Run, and then they had to get a new singer. So the singer of Breaking Pangea left to join Taking Back Sunday. That left Breaking Pangea not playing at this show at Vino's, which was filled in for by Murder by Death. And it was just the best. Oh my god, I love them so much. And I went to every show they played in Arkansas, and so like, and I would always show up, and I would bring, you know, whoever I could get to go with me. They're so cool. Okay, alright, I'm sorry. Well, I hope you find a good room, man. Taylor Swift. Yeah, I don't like celebrate her whole catalog. There's a lot of it that misses me, but she did a couple of albums during the pandemic years called Folklore and Evermore, and I thought they were the best albums of the year. Like, I really was impressed by them. There's a bunch of stuff on them that I think was just, like, as good of songwriting as I've ever seen. Superior 3-socket shield. It's not really a good block rate shield. Do I really want to throw a gift shield away? Because we can just resist spike it if we need. I mean, we can get 50 resist all, or we can get like 105 to a specific one. I see. Well, I usually try not to worry about stuff like that when it comes to media, because often nepotism leads to stuff that I like, you know. Abstractly, is it good? It's not ideal. But one of my favorite movies in the world is a film called Lost in Translation, directed by Sofia Coppola, and it stars Bill Murray and Scarlett Johansson. I really like it a lot, and always have. And she's like, you know, Francis Ford Coppola's daughter. Like, she got her start acting as a baby in The Godfather, right? And, you know, would she have been able to have her career if she was a nobody? Well, maybe not. It's one of those things where we all respect somebody who rises from nothing more. But I try not to, you know... If a great classical musician comes from a family of rich classical musicians, relatively rich, I don't think anyone's making bank playing violin. I mean, there's 3 people, but not anyone else. I digress. You know, a lot of everything is just opportunity, and while we should certainly, you know, like try to celebrate people who rise above not having it, I don't know. I don't really feel like it takes away from how good a song is if the person who wrote this is a jerk. My opinions about art, though, are very heavily colored by liking classical literature, where almost everybody that wrote the books is an awful person. And so, like, ever since I was a kid, I had to, like, form a framework for, like, why I get to like Voltaire. Because I'm not giving him up. Of course, his sin, not nepotism, but hate. Four-socket dimensional blade. This is not desirable. You can make a spirit in it, but the dex requirement means I don't want to wear it, and you don't need dex for that kind of thing anyway. Let's pop some cows. Boom, boom, boom. You say, like, people are said bad people. Well, you know, and that is an important jumping off point for thought, right? Because, like, if you have, like, a strong philosophical framework for what constitutes right and wrong, what people ought to do, that kind of thing, what we would call, like, a real Kantian way of looking at the world, then you're not going to be able to avoid thinking that people are right and wrong, good and bad, in these proportions. Because if you give yourself rules to evaluate people, they'll always fall short of them. Always. And I'll call people bad people as a shorthand, but what I really mean is a wide range of things. Because, I mean, like, you could be a murderer, or you could be a person that's deeply prejudiced, or you could be someone who treated your children poorly, or who treated basically every woman they knew poorly, but not, like, the earth. Maybe they really liked birds. And I'm not trying to make excuses for, like, the monsters of history here, just like guys like Hemingway, for example, who I adore, who is not what you would call a good person if you read the story of his life, but I'm not giving him up. And that is, like, because I'm willing to make such exceptions for literature, I can quite easily make them for music, where basically no one has ever done anything as bad. Yes! 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 Oh my god! Yes! 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 Lumroon! This is the exact one I needed! And Demon Hide set boots, which I don't recognize. Oh, Disciple. Oh, wonderful. Wonderful, wonderful day. Oh man, we can go to the hell difficulty now, I guess, if we wanted. Oh, sick. Yes. Yes, and that's how I can get off of how people may be bad to being totally freaking pumped. Amazing. Alright, so this rune is a very, very, very good rune for my purposes. We're gonna make an item out of it that we don't need to make right now because it doesn't matter right now. Alright, we don't need any of these. We'll keep the plate. but there's a line in Dostoevsky, which I relate. Dostoevsky wasn't a bad person, I wouldn't say, but, a complicated one like all people are. But he has a line in one of his books, and it goes like this. Most people, even the most vicious, are far more naive and simple-minded than they appear to be. And this is true of ourselves, too. Because, so when we talk about people being good or bad, or laying down judgment for the things that they do that are wrong, that hurt other people, that fail to live up to their obligations to others, and that are destructive or hateful in some way, right? But not to make excuses for the people, but the reason we see these things rise up constantly is because they are emotional responses to a weak psychology and philosophy, right? These are people that believe things about the world that are not true. And because these things are not true, and because they believe them, they are constantly put into conflict. Constantly. With the things that contradict them, or that confront the falsity of their viewpoint, or that point out when they are being hypocritical or lying. These things are unacceptable to them because they're very, very small-minded people, like all people, like me and everyone else. There's no insurance against having an emotional response that leads you to hurt other people. You can try to work against it. The best examples are cross-cultural, when people don't know each other at all. Because then you get into matters of intent, and all of a sudden you're talking like a court case, about right and wrong, which is fine. Hey Chase, how's it going? We're killing cows. You can do that here. Moo. But I would say that rather than most people being bad, I would say that most people are, as they always have been, small-minded, not concerned with others, very willing to make excuses for themselves and not for others, always willing to see the best in themselves and not others. This is just what people are like. So I don't know if you... like, the other characterizations of people, our urge to power, the will to dominate others in groups, the way that we steal resources from others. These are bad, but they are what characterize human existence. And we can call the individuals that engage in them evil, and they are. But I think probably more than 60% of people are bad people if you dug into it. But is there a man among us who would want the world going into everything that they had ever done? Or woman among us who would want the world going into everything they had ever done and then evaluating, every conversation they'd have? I wouldn't pass up well. I try to do my best now, but, I was a jerk whenever I was younger, and I said a bunch of hurtful things to a bunch of people. I was mean to my friends, and I was mean to my enemies. I lashed out at everyone, and I certainly want to be, taken to account for the things that I did whenever I was, drunk and ranting someday. I was an alcoholic for more than 10 years. And people would regularly have to explain to me what I'd said. So whenever I see, like a celebrity on the news who's, done something awful again, all I can think is, man, he's going to have to talk about this because he's famous. If I had done it, I could just pretend I never did it, and it wouldn't get brought up again. It would just go into everything else. But, when some actor does something bad or yells some cruel thing, people are going to bring it up every time you hear his name forever. And I don't think that I don't think that the human experience is built for that level of scrutiny. I certainly don't think that... and again, I should say, again, I'm not trying to make excuses for people with bad behavior. They should be, you know, held accountable and whatnot. But I don't think anybody could stand up to being held accountable for everything. Will there be a Jeremy Jazz stream within the next week, I think? How about tonight? We'll do one tonight. If my hand feels fine. It should, you know. Sometimes something at work hurts it, though. We're gonna lose run walk, though, when we go to smoke, and I am worried about that. It's gonna be some kind of compromise. Though we don't get any survivability off of the armor right now, and that's unacceptable. Unacceptable! Two socket crystal sword. This is worthless. After we clear this one, now that we got the lum drop, I guess we can try to move to hell difficulty, see where we're at, maybe throw some runes into a thing just for resist and move forward. So we'll be able to see pretty quick if our survivability is too low. I mean, I'm really being too precious about it, and I know I am. This is a very tanky character for Necromancer standards. I just, you know... You don't want to die, you don't. And Diablo, man oh man, can you just die so quick? Is Diablo 4 multiplayer? Yeah, certainly. All the Diablo games have always been multiplayer. Three had, and I think KP... one of our viewers here is talking about how he had Diablo 1 on the PlayStation 1, which had couch co-op on it. And then... Whoops. Not like that. Seven poison resist. I'll carry it. Alright, let's get our setup here. So where this belt? I mean, probably. We're gonna lose all of our run walk by going to this, which feels terrible. Alright. Alright, so if we make a smoke now in this demon heart armor, and I know it's Nephilim, but here's the thing. Look up a rune word before you make it, or you're gonna do what I did yesterday and put a stupid insight into a spear, which is not a pole arm, it's not a pole arm. Yeah, Nephilim. Non-magic body armor with exactly 2 sockets. Alright. And we get smoke, which has no rolls, I think, on anything. But, oh, maybe the defense against missile. But yeah, there we go. We lose our fast run walk, and some hit recovery, and cast rate. But that, and then alright, yeah, we're ready. Let's go to hell. All right, moment oh truth. Can we do it? Do we still got it? Let's check our rank on the ladder again real quick. I don't care about it. I just care desperately about it. 409. All right, let's go. Cap, fire, poison, and lightning resist, or fire, lightning, and cold resist, which actually means, oh yeah, with our, so we have a huge charm of cold resist there. We're going to be able to move some of these resist around pretty soon and actually get decent gear, so that's exciting. Because right now, we don't run fast, and that's bad, but we don't need to run fast in Act 1. Not really. I mean, it'd be good, though. But here we see, you know, it's just... You know, maybe I didn't need that smoke after all. No, we'll find something. Anyway, we're just gonna run a little slow because, ah man, I hate this. All right, how can we? If we let ourselves get frozen. I'm trying to find a way where I don't lose cannot be frozen, and I can run fast, and I have max resist. I don't think we can do it. Running slow won't matter in Act 1. But we are going to have to get more run walk before we go further into it. There's not enough creature density in Act 1, even in Hell, to really be a worry. If I die from being slow, I'll regret it forever. And this guy is physical immune, but when you curse him, he's not. And we're gonna... Yeah, we're already seeing... So, when you're cursed in Hell... How's our Merc resist? You know, not maxed yet. Oh, we could give him... that to help him run faster? Question mark? No. Need a rune word for him, too. But what? Could give him that. All right. 28 life there, go slightly under cap there, 25 over cap on fire, and 25 over cap on lightning. So if you make a pledge here... Yep. Alright, max his resists. And we'll keep Rhyme on the weapon swap for cannot be frozen. Do I have any weapon on there to be anywhere? And now, cap resist except for cold, which is at 39, which is fine. We keep our run walk. And we get max resist on the Merc. Yes, this is the way. Here we go. Wonderful. We lose 28 life on the ring to swap there. Worth it. Alright, now we can play the game. What level am I? I am level 67. And we have just entered the highest difficulty. Well, there's like an uber difficulty of things. Anyway, this is the highest difficulty of the game. There are 3 levels. Normal, Nightmare, and Hell. And we are in Hell. It won't be so bad once we get a couple bodies up. But of course, it takes a little bit of time because my Merc will freeze guys to death. Because I have the Holy Freeze Aura on him. Typically, a skeleton summoner would use Might Aura, which increases the damage of everybody. However, this is hardcore, and you make different choices. So the freeze is really good at, you know, freezing him. This guy had Stone Skin, which made him physical immune. He's probably, like, super, super hardy, but we'll get a couple stabs in there and get him down. Oh. Oh, no. It's that use solely. I have a few coworkers that delight in these things. I'm not going to compare you to them. That's not fair to you. Alright, now that we've got our dudes online, we are cursed again. Jeez. Curse is that's the same curse I use, the little flame thing. It's amplify damage. It makes you take 100% more physical damage, so you don't want to have that on. These quill rats are shooting me. Yeah, I think. Yeah, we our gear is actually real fine here. We're gonna decrypt the big guy because he's got multi-shot, which is pretty nasty, and then get these quill guys. And then have a party. They've got Spectral Shot, which works on him. Pretty funny. It's pretty funny that I was so pumped about getting that rune word. So I was like, now I can go, and then like I absolutely had this stuff laying around to make the resist stack work anyway. Poison resist isn't that important. It is important. You don't want to have none of it, but poison can't kill you on its own. Like if you just like leave the town, you're fine. And you turn green when you get poisoned. But all the other ones can kill you, you know, without a warning, so you gotta have the resists. And I don't think any of the regular attacks in the game do, like, 4,000 damage, which is how much they would need to do to spike you through full resist. But, like, 6 or 10 of them can still, so it's not like max resist is only the first piece of the puzzle. There's ways to increase maximum resistance, which I would love to get. I'm unlikely to. There aren't that many of them. But you can get a stat called Absorb. So, since nobody cares, I'll explain how resistances in Diablo work. It's a 4-tier stack. First stack is Resist. So, it does 400 damage. You have a 75% chance to resist. Now it's 100 damage. Boom. Second stack is integer-based reduction, like lightning spell damage reduced by 7 or magic damage reduced by 3, that kind of stuff. That gets subtracted from it. Say you have 20 points of that, bam, down to 80. Then you have your Absorb stat, which is on more stuff than max things is. And Absorb is just what it sounds like. It heals you for the damage. But the way that it does that is, so if you have an Absorb stat of 20, it absorbs 20% of it, and then adds that damage away. It adds the healing to the damage you would have taken, so Absorb is actually double dipping. So if you were going to take 100 and you have 20 Absorb, you're only going to take 60 from it, for example. And so that's a way where with max resist and 20 Absorb, you could take a 400 damage attack and turn it into 60. So that's 7 attacks that you can take now instead of, you know, what you might think, which would be, okay, 4 and then maybe 1 more for the Absorb. But very, very important to get all of that going. You gotta have your resist up because Act 1 isn't that sketchy most of the time, but uniques can still happen that will rip your whole face off, and that would be sad for your face. You wouldn't want that to happen to your face. We're gonna get this big guy and this big guy. But the problem is, so, like, our skeletons have fallen off somewhat, rather a lot, because instead of prioritizing power like most characters would, we have to prioritize survivability. So there's a lot, like, we have an amulet for +3 summoning skills, which is so good, but we can't wear it because we have to wear this amulet for life and resists. But if we can, like, that'll be... I'm like, can I actually... Like, No, we're just at cap for lightning. You have to be at cap for lightning to resist. There's no lightning casters in Act 1, I don't think. Bad thing to not know. But you can get lightning enchants, and they are the most dangerous regular kind of mobs in the game, for sure. So, like, these fallen, I don't know how much damage their fireballs do, but probably not like 200, you know, less than that. So we're in fine shape to deal with them. Come on, get a kill. There we go. And then the bodies hit the floor, except for the ones that we resurrect. Whoops. Everything in Hell has a 50% resist to physical, which is why things with stone skin can generate physical immunity. Amplify damage reduces that and can pierce the immunity of most mobs, not all. You'll occasionally get them that are already physical immune and then they get stone skin. That's the classic example of a mob that is going to be a headache. Because for all that these revives aren't very good at being revives, they're still bodies, you know. And every softcore character is concerned with a couple of things, like how fun it's going to be and how fast it can do the thing that you want to do with it. But hardcore, I'm not racing the people, you know, like, I keep on talking about my rank on the ladder, and that's just a me thing, you know, like, I'm not trying to go fast, I'm not trying to be the very best like no one ever was. I just want to live, I want to beat Bale. And then move on to a different game. Or do it with every class in a row! No, I'm just playing. Speed run! No. There are people already at level 99, which is just so disgusting to me. I've never been level 99 in my life. I didn't even know people did that. Maybe it's easier to do now than it used to be, but, like, y'all, it... $13 to life small charm? Yes, please. I'm gonna go into the throne room of Bale with no inventory space, thank you very much. Nah, if you can get to Bale's throne room, you can kill Bale. That's the general rule of hardcore. I can't imagine any character capable of getting there that can't finish the job. Although, I'll probably feel very tense if the time ever comes. I won't say when. I expect... You know, you shouldn't shot call your own death. But I expect, like, an Act 3 death. Like, just... Or maybe, like, walking in the door and getting gloamed in Bale's throne room. That's a funny one. Because you can't really prevent it, even with max resist. But we'll probably be just being, like, really cartoonish over-prepared at that point. Because you can go over cap on resist, because there's an aura called Conviction that reduces them. It's one of the more dangerous things in the game. But you can just get like 100 too many resist, and then even if they conviction you, it won't matter. These shaman are so annoying. Normally you don't care. It's like, okay, they resurrect a guy behind you, whatever. But here you gotta kill every mob in the whole joint. So if you leave one behind you... Yep. But we're going to be struggling the further we go unless we get some good stuff, you know. If we can find some of the lower runes for the Merc to make him a really good weapon, you know, then that you can ride a good Merc weapon through the whole game. Hey, a canote. It's just called a knout. Or a knout. Or a note. Newt. Canute. Last guy? Yeah! Huzzah. You never care about an out because it has too high of requirements for what you want to build in. You know, you want caster things, which is 4 or 5 socket flails, not the other stuff. We're 3 bars away from 68, a very good level. Alright, Den of Evil taken care of. Good, good. Where do we spend this skill? Do we get a point in Fire Golem? I mean, I don't think it's important to pick up a Fire Golem. Points and amp damage could be okay just to, like, get a bigger spread. And actually would be fine, but I think we might just take bone armor points and just go for survivability, just all in on it. We still have a respec to use, which we can use if we get something worth respecing for, right? I wish I had like 2,000 more hit points. But that'd be real hard for a Necro to get. Just like 500 more though. This guy's cold enchanted, so we stay away. Yeah, we're like, just get one of the mobs. There we go. We're seeing already, like, how weak our build is, you know. But that's the thing. You get stronger by going forward in the game. And it's not like we can't clear mobs, you know. Hell's interesting like that. Because you go from clearing all the stuff real quick at the end of Nightmare, and then it's like starting at the beginning of the game again. You gotta like readjust your mindset to the fact that, yeah, it's taking some time to clear these guys, but you know, it's better rewards than you've been getting for all the stuff whenever you felt like you were doing better. Whoops. Oh, does it really not connect there? Lame! But of course, you know, we can run Hell Countess probably pretty easy. Probably. And so, just some chunks of that. They're both fine experience, not amazing because, you know, you spend a lot of time walking into walls, but fine. And very, very important for, you know, getting everything else up off the ground. Flavy! The Andariel fight is always fun once you have revive and stuff, because one, she's weak to fire, so if you get her around a bunch of bodies, you can just pop her and she usually will like die on you. But it's also fun because you know, she kills your revives or your skeletons, you just get more. Because this, to me, is like the ideal way to be a necromancer. Some people like poison, some people like bone spells, but me, I like standing behind a wall of dudes and saying, "Look at the bones!" Gorgeous. We are picking up gloves. Basically, we're picking up every pair of gloves we can see from now on. Boots and belts and rings too, because magic items at this point can get pretty big amplifications of stats on them, you know. Sure, it's only going to be to, you know, 1 or 2 things, but if you get, you know, life and lightning resist on a belt, it could be a lot of life and a lot of lightning resist. Which, coming into hell the way we did is the way to do it on hardcore. I'm not an expert, I just have beliefs, you know, and I think this is the way to do it, because when you go in at max resist, you're already fine. You can continue, and then, you know, you get more gear, and then you just try to get more lethality while maintaining your survivability, rather than, it's like, man, you know, I know that the game's hard. There's a lot of ways to lose a run, but when I see people like around this level dying, I'm like, oh, you poor guy, because like you can level between like 50 and 70 is like the easiest and safest levels of the game for most characters, because you can do them in Nightmare, and yeah, and your build turns on by the time you're that level, no matter who you are. Plenty of builds aren't fun to play until like level 30 or 40. Extra strong, extra fast, cold and fire enchanted. And cursed. Jeez, what a pack. Well, now they're mine. Curse lasts so long. There's an aura that gets rid of it a little quicker. And I saw it's on a rune word now where you can put it on a helm. It also has lots of poison resist on the helm, but like unironically, not for hardcore probably, but like it would be like a pretty fun thing to use. Because like, I shouldn't be running, let's just be disciplined. Let's stop being silly. Like, I'm not worried about it, but you're not supposed to run around with a curse on. Get your curse off, get your curse off. That's Missy Elliott's idea. Alright, even worse than our gloves. Alas. Yeah, because we can just throw that on him for bosses still. It does terrible damage, and then we can swap out to a better one. Yeah, I mean, you don't need to be too worried about it. What I would love is to get some absorb. There's a couple of rings, couple 3 rings where you can get absorb, and I would love to get all of them. We're ancient armor, and we hit level 68. Glorious. This is great. You get good experience in Hell too. You know, the ramp up in time between levels doesn't really happen for a little bit longer still. Can't catch me, I'm too fast. Oh, like, hey, there's the way out of the cold plains. Alright, so Stony Field. What's dangerous here? You have a super unique. His name is Rakanishu. He is always lightning enchanted, he is always extra strong, and he is always extra fast. We'll be fine, but you don't want to run into him by surprise. The thing is, once you've done the quest, you always know where he is, because he guards the stones which guard the portal. But until you get there, that we're seeing here. So these are lightning immunes. Everything in hell is immune to at least one element, which is why it's very difficult to clear hell by yourself unless, you account for that in your build, There are physical immunes, which a physical class has to find a way around, lightning, cold, fire, and then you have uniques, which can get, because of their modifiers, lots of other immunities as well. Be a big old headache. Sinbang the Impaler. He has a holy shock aura. I don't think it does very much damage, but that's what those shocks are coming from. It didn't really hit me very bad. I think, so it's very low damage, lightning is, or it can be. And between resists and then small amounts of, magic reduction and stuff, I think we probably just pushed through and made it nothing. Underground passage is the way forward. But what we're trying to do now is just find the waypoint here, and then I gotta get on with my day, unfortunately. A little bit close to the Noah, but it's all good. So, a fire immune, because, everything in hell is 50% physical resistant, and fire immune, so your corpse explode is 50-50 fire and physical, so, you're losing a lot of power there. But you amp damage, and then you get your, more physical there. And, of course, the thing about corpse explode is even if it's at 1/4 power, just blow up 4 corpses, right? That's easy math. Just put some more bodies down, blow them up, get wrecked. You don't want to make things harder than they have to be. And when we get 10 more levels on the Merc, we won't need that armor on him anymore. But what I'm hoping for is just to see one of 2 helmets drop, and then we won't have to worry about his weapon because he'll get crushing blow from that, and then we can just have a lower power weapon if we have to. So we'll probably make another spirit in a better base when we can. There's a lot of better bases out there. And when you play with low magic find, you certainly will find them. Play the new Resident Evil game on Steam? Well, I don't think I have it. What if I played one of the old ones? Now, I played the 2 remake for 10 minutes, and then I was super impressed. It was more like an hour. And then I don't remember what happened, and I never played it again. Yeah, I enjoy them, but it's growing up, my friend had the PlayStation, and I would usually just watch him play Resident Evil because he was a lot better at it than I was, and I quite liked watching him play games. That was our friendship in a lot of ways. Is one of us would play, the other one would watch, or the best of it was playing Pokemon together. we had like a Super Game Boy thing and the Super Nintendo, so one of us would play on the TV and the other one would play on the Game Boy, and we'd start new playthroughs and stuff. But anyway, the new ones are more, you know, playable. I was really annoyed with the controls in the old games. And they just watching them. Ah, it's too bad. Alright, so where are we on the ladder now? Number 400! We made it back to 400, and now I'm gonna go to work. And I'm gonna fall out, but... You know who's not gonna catch me? Zombie. Zombie, he's never gonna get any more experience, so we've got him. And then above us, there's plenty of other dead people to catch. But hey, we're at the big 400 again. Huzzah! I feel so bad for everybody that loses a hardcore character. I mean, it's part of the game, but like you go through here and you're like, Mr. Baked Bean, you were just level 60. Your whole life was ahead of you. But anyway, if I see him on the ground, we'll raise him up from the dead and have a little necromancer that follows us around for a few minutes. I think that's what he would have wanted. But anyway, I gotta get on with my day. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Really hope you've enjoyed. I know I did. You know, we moved out of Nightmare and into Hell. And, you know, we're doing just fine. You know, getting your first bodies is always a little tricky. But then, you know, snowballs up and just a blast. Just a good time. And of course our gear is total trash house, which is great because it's good enough, and that means anytime we get something better, it's going to be noticeable. But anyway, I'm going to get out of here, and I'll be back tonight. We will probably play at least some, you know, Geometry Dash. Try to do a good 30 minutes, maybe a little more. You know, it's easy to get frustrated, but you know, we'll give it a shot. I'll try to schedule it, you know, like a good, you know, 15 or 20 minutes before we go live on it. Kiara, give you a little bit of a heads up there, because I know usually I'll like put a stream up with like a 1 minute delay, but you know, maybe we'll do a little bit more of a buffer. That way you can catch it. I know you really enjoy those. But anyway, I'll see you guys, and maybe I'll catch you in a later stream or video. Y'all have a good one. Later, Chase. Later, Kiara.